Turn me up a little bit. Gonna make them feel it. Make my 44 the rebel, nigga. Look. The key to survival is formality. And I ain't worried about my rivals, they just casualties. I bring his heart on the planet like Applebee's. Let him lose control, I bet his soul lose gravity. A beast, blood in my teeth, I got them all beat. Circulate that paper with my niggas like Black Wall Street. You know revenge, my love. Yeah, 2 twin Glocks and see your ass in sandstone like the Isley brothers. Better take deep cover. I make them clap back and forth like 2 wives that despise each other. Shit, get into that bag, got the refrigerator full of color. Hey, this that gun smoking gold butter. Handing these little things to my Lord, get a look to kill. I need a bad bitch that look resilient. If real recognize real, I should look familiar. Fire in my back in the lobby, I burn down the build. Back on that ass. In case these niggas need proof, they on my sons. I took them all to preschool. He and his feelings better be cool. Cause I chew that beef up, show my tongue now it's seafood. I brought that all to your burial, I'm the pallbearer. This my shit, I sit in the throne like a lawn chair. All fair, warfare. Shit, Diamondback AR. Work that bitch like a guitar player. Turn down. Fucking we're home, bro. Fucking we're home.
People, it's like Africans. Are black people today white people? I just cut it right there. That's really all you need to know. Are black people today white people? So that's the same answer with the Africans.
Let me help y'all out with the Bible never changes. That's the best solution for black people, the Bible never changes. Because the problem that we have in every ghetto USA, the problem that we have with each other is not science. Science ain't the problem. Them drug dealers on the corner need to die. That's the problem. Them brothers that's raping little girls. Them brothers that's turning our men homosexual. That's the problem. And the Bible said don't be a homosexual. The Bible said thou shalt not murder. The Bible said thou shalt not steal. The Bible said thou shalt not murder. The Bible said thou shalt not have no other God. And you see how they want to turn the mic on when I start talking about laws.
African, but then forget that the Africans, the Arabs, and the white man are all a part of the transatlantic slave trade. So when you call yourself African, when you wear that when you want to be Amin Ra and all of that, you're just joining another enemy to you.
So y'all don't listen to ISUBK, but we got the room on y'all floor. That shit don't even make no sense what you're saying. Because of the hundreds. No, we not. Yes, you are. I tell you what, take us off the hundreds. Take us off. We don't got to do another motherfucking room on the 100 side ever.
City. You got the city in Detroit. You got the city Seneca Village where Central Park is at in New York.
But that's not why the Wall Street thing happened. The reason that happened was there were a couple of black businessmen and white businessmen who disagreed on some type of a deal. And then they start arguing and fighting with one another. And just like any terrorist attack upon America, it went into a riot. They didn't do it just because the black were black or that they have businesses.
So you're calling a black man a terrorist because he wants to keep his business?
I'm just saying the warfare between the white and the black broke out because they had disagreements.
But if you say America is so great and the white man is so great, why would we be labeled as terrorists?
With that, individual, I imagine Imam Shabbat, I imagine Barack.
Testing 1 2 testing 1 2 testing 1 2. Give me a 1 if y'all can hear me real quick. Give me a 1 2 3 or something in the chat. Let me know if y'all can hear me all right. I believe we're streaming on YouTube and we're streaming on Clubhouse. Just let me know if y'all can hear me and if y'all can see me. Appreciate the ones in the chat. At 7 o'clock in about 13 minutes, I have special guest Ron Dalton coming into the building. He had texted me. This was kind of impromptu. The brother messaged me about 2 or 3 days ago. And when he messaged me, he was saying how they want to debate him. They still banning him. He can't do anything on YouTube. He can't do nothing on Walmart, Target, Barnes and Nobles, GoFundMe. So I asked him if he wanted to do an interview to talk about it. And he said, yeah, the brother is not in the States. For those that don't know, I'm not sure exactly where. I want to say he's in Africa. I'm just not sure, but I do know that it'll be 1 a.m. his time when we're doing the interview. So I definitely appreciate the brother giving us the opportunity. I'm just going to text him real fast and let him know I'm live. So whenever he wants to come in, he can come in. I'm live, so you can come in whenever you're ready. The reason why I went live a little early, I wanted to share my screen. Oh yeah, see my little fish. Now that the reason why it's dark like that is because I don't know if I could fade this out. That's blue. So I have, if you want to call it being fancy. So, you know, I like to take care of my African baby fish. But I could change the different colors. So if y'all see it changing colors, I can make it bright. That's just with my app on my phone. So I could change the different colors. So I went with a blue color to change the color. So that's why y'all see a different color. So I went with like a little sky blue color. That's why I rock with that. And them babies is getting big. If I could move this camera, I would show y'all. Them little babies, they growing. Who knew I could nurture little African baby fish? But one of the reasons I wanted to go live now was I wanted to show y'all something. I know a lot of people gave us flack with this whole IUIC thing, and everything in the dark always come to light. I want to share my screen and show y'all something real fast. I want to present my screen. This is my Facebook tab that y'all are going to see, right? So now I want y'all to look at this now. I got this. Somebody sent this to me, and it was on this guy Trap With Us page. And so here's what it says. This is the brotherly love that you get from IUIC leadership. Be not deceived. These brothers are hypocrites. Pray for the lost souls that fall into the purple pit. Now, General Hyman is probably going to break this down a lot tomorrow when he teaches the scripture breakdown class. But I want to show y'all, right? So this cat in IUIC, he's the cat that was next to, hey, what's the deacon? What y'all call him? Big Frida. He was a cat standing next to Big Frida when they was punking Guerrilla Hebrew and them. I believe we got Ron Dalton here. Okay, I don't want to take up. I'll come back to this. I'm going to stop my screen share because I don't want to take up from the brother. I definitely appreciate Ron coming in at such a late hour. So I'm going to add Ron to the screen. What's going on, brother? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What's going on, man? I'm glad you was able to come through. How you doing today?
I'm good. It's late here in Africa.
Yeah, man. I was telling him. I said I assumed you was in Africa. I wasn't sure exactly where you were, but I said I appreciate him coming in and coming through at such a late hour. But I thought it was important. So just to give him a backdrop before I allow you to introduce yourself to those that may not know who you are. I was explaining that you had hit me up and you was telling me how, you know, they kind of banned you from like YouTube, Clubhouse. Every time you try to go live or do anything, it seems like the only thing they're allowing you to do is be on Amazon, but they're not letting you be on anything else. So once you said that, the first thing I thought about was, let me see if I could get him on my platform so that he can have a voice so that the people could hear him, because I don't think that your voice or your work should be suppressed. I think it's something that should be able to be out there, just like any historian's book should be out there to deliver the information. And then we as the people can disseminate it and say what we agree with, say what we don't disagree with, but the vitriol that you're receiving is just unnecessary. So to my podcast, this Captain Tazaryach podcast, episode 8, I introduce Ron Dalton. The floor is yours if you want to introduce yourself.
Hey, well, I'm the creator of the book Hebrews to Negroes and the movie Hebrews to Negroes, and was book put out back in 2015, movie the end of 2018, and the Kyrie Irving incident. If people don't know, that was in regards to the movie Hebrews to Negroes that he posted a link to, and all the Jews got upset and mad, and was throwing all their shots at Kyrie, and I was just sitting back here like Batman in a cave, and nobody was bothering me at all.
So you was just sitting back like you didn't know about him making the actual tweet, I'm assuming initially, right?
No, I was actually in Orlando at the time, and brother Lorvis Lomias, he hit me up and said, did you see what just happened? And I said, what? And he said, Kyrie Irving shared your movie link, and I thought to myself, well, who was Kyrie Irving? And then I started.
So wait. So you didn't even know who Kyrie Irving was. Like you don't follow the NBA, I'm assuming, or basketball or something.
I stopped following NBA when Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and all those guys, they just like.
Oh, you was a Bulls fan. Okay, I got you. So you retired when they retired.
I was a Bulls and a Pistons fan, but Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars and Dennis Rodman. But after those guys, those old guys retired, I kind of stopped following the NBA as closely as probably other people do.
Okay, and so now, and some of this stuff could be a rehash for those, but just so we don't forget what the fight that you're going through. So when that happens to you, right, and you go through that process, what was it like? What was the whole? So you find that out. When did you start receiving, I guess, like the backlash or the vitriol? Because it seemed like it was swift on Kyrie. So was it like a massive search to find out who you were? Was there any type of communication of people wanting to speak to you, to hear your voice? What was that like?
Well, when that happened, the video that I did, it got 500,000 views. People, I guess, started searching Hebrews to Negroes, and then when they found out I had a YouTube channel, they all started clicking on the video, and so the video I did was 500,000 views, and usually my videos I promote Hebrews to Negroes, books, movies, conferences, H2N TV. .com, and after I seen that, I said, wow, I said people are really tuning into a YouTube channel. And so then I posted another. No, after that one video got 500,000 views, then I got a strike.
And what was the strike based on?
It's community guidelines, I think, and I was like, what? I was like, I just advertise a lot. A lot of times you just see me talking and promoting some kind of Zoom or conference I'm doing, but it was a community guideline strike. And then after that, I posted another video, and that got like 350,000 views. And I think I said Ron Dalton stands for Kyrie Irving. And then after that, I got another strike. And then I got put in jail, and then for like a 15-day jail. And then before the 15 jail was up, they deleted my channel because when the 15
because they usually because they say if you get the strikes in a certain amount of time, they get rid of your channel. Because for some reason, my Cross the Line radio channel that I've had since 2017 is for some reason got a strike. And what's interesting is I got the same two videos on this channel and I have it on the other channel, but this channel doesn't have a strike at all. But the other channel got the strike. We'll let you know somebody specifically went on there and targeted that account, just like they specifically went on your account and targeted your account to do that, which is what it sounds like.
Yeah, and so while I was in YouTube jail, they issued the death blow, and so when 15 days when it was up, and I tried to post a video. It said unable to access Google product.
Mm.
I said, oh, they deleted my channel. So then I tried to create another channel, and within like a day or two, they deleted that. Then I tried to create another channel using somebody else's email, not mine, and they deleted that too. So I mean, I tried like
was it the name on the account? Like what was like? Because sometimes I'm assuming they probably was marking like keywords. Like if you put certain words in there, it would trigger something. I'm assuming. So was you using like your name, or was you trying to trip it up?
I did H2N TV channel. I did Truth channel. I think Hebrew Truth channel, and it don't matter what I did. They as soon as I posted one video, I think they knew it was me, and then they deleted
Yeah, they
it.
definitely.
Yeah,
they definitely flagged you, and it seemed like it just didn't stop with YouTube, because like in your text message you said it also affected. You said Clubhouse, you couldn't come on, because I know you was Moses on Clubhouse. At least that's when I started interacting. Your account was Moses on Clubhouse. So you saying that even on Clubhouse, your account was getting like blocked and banned? Because I remember we did an interview on Clubhouse back, I think in November, December, something like that. Got a little crazy.
We're whack 100.
Yeah, it got a little crazy. It got a little crazy. So, like, explain, like, what was the reason they said for the Clubhouse?
They didn't say. I just tried to get in Clubhouse one day, and it was inactive. And then so I if in order to get on Clubhouse, you have to use a whole different number, and so I would have to use like my daughter's phone or my wife's phone, somebody else's phone, because all the phones that I had, I think I had 3 phones. They all they figured out how to delete all my Clubhouse accounts based on the phone. Even phones that were registered in South Africa, they they found a way to delete that. So they deleted that. And then they deleted my GoFundMe campaigns, all of them. So they sent me an email saying that all your GoFundMe campaigns are suspended, and they didn't give me a reason. They just said that it's not like I'm not like the truckers that the truckers that were coming from or holding up Canada. Something's going on with the truckers in Canada. They had suspended their GoFundMe money, but these guys they didn't have no reason. They just shut my GoFundMe down for no reason. So I had three GoFundMes or 2.
And what's weird about that, like they shut your GoFundMe down, but then like the cat that choked out the brother on the train in New York City, he can have a GoFundMe and he can raise hundreds of thousands of dollars, and he killed somebody. But you can't have your GoFundMe gets clipped and you didn't kill nobody, you didn't do anything to anybody. So now we get the YouTube, you get the Clubhouse, you get the GoFundMe, and you mentioned Walmart and Target as well. So I'm assuming you was trying to get into those spaces also.
Well, my books are already on Walmart and Target and Barnes and Nobles, and then the Jews they figure out a way to get them taken down, and so I was like, wow. And so then they went to Vimeo on Demand, and Vimeo on Demand sent me a notification saying that Hebrews to Negroes had gotten reported by people, because my movie had been on Vimeo on Demand since 2018, 19, and so for like three years or more, it was on Vimeo on Demand, and then Vimeo on Demand got a complaint from the Jews, and then they took it down. So then I knew once they did that, I said, I said H2N TV is now in jeopardy, because H2N TV is the same. It's kind of on the same platform that Dame Dash TV was on before he created his own platform. But so before they can start to mess with that, I had to back up all my files, all my videos,
like onto a storage drive or something like that.
Yeah, I knew they were coming for H2N TV, And during that time, I was in America for a while, and I was using Airbnbs, and then all of a sudden I'm in what was it, Virginia? I was in Virginia, and I tried to book an Airbnb after the one Airbnb was ending, and Airbnb said that your account has been suspended. We have to investigate your identity, and we know some suspicious activity. And I said, but you got my passport and my driver's license on file. I've been using Airbnb for years. I'm like, what's the problem now? And they couldn't give me any answer. They couldn't give me no answers. And the support team was like, we don't know what's going on. We don't understand either. We don't have no answers. I'm sorry, sir. And I was like, so what am I supposed to do? So I stay in a hotel with 9 people, like me and my wife.
Right. Like, what are you supposed? Right.
Yeah.
And so what ended up happening?
So I had to open up an Airbnb account with my wife's name. And if that didn't happen, we were gonna be staying in a hotel. Technically, you can't stay in a hotel with 9 people.
Right. They would. Yeah. They usually gotta do like 2, maybe 3, but 9 people. They were like, nah, y'all can't do that. Y'all would have had to get like multiple rooms, at least probably 3 to 4 rooms. Right.
Exactly, and that's hard to find. A lot of hotels don't have the conjoining rooms, and if you do that, you're looking at least 400 a night. 400 a night for the family. And so that was a headache that I had to go through. But yeah, Clubhouse, GoFundMe, Facebook, YouTube. Even my book publisher, she couldn't wire me any money because she said, Ron, your book sales for November was a lot, and she was like, I don't have enough money to. I can't Zelle you the money. It's too much. And she said, I can't cash up you the money because it's too much. And I said, oh, well, just wire it to me. Right. Do a transfer, ACH transfer. And she had Chase. I had Chase and Bank of America.
That should be easy. Same bank.
And she called. She tried to do it online, and it wouldn't work. And then she called the support team, and they said to her, what's your affiliation with Mr. Dalton? And she was like, well, I'm his publisher. And she was like, how long have you known Mr. Dalton? And she was like, huh? She's like, wait, what are these questions for? Right. And then she was like, the Chase lady said, well, I'm sorry, ma'am, you're gonna have to find a different way to get him the money because for security reasons, we're not gonna allow you to do that. You can't. We're not gonna allow you. You cannot wire him the money. And she called me and said, Ronald, she said, this is strange. She said, I don't understand. I said, why can't I transfer you? Why can't I wire you any money?
Right.
And I said, we'll just break it up because Zelle has a limit on what you can transfer a day.
Right.
And so she just said, well, I'm just gonna have to transfer you money every day, a certain amount, instead of just doing a one-time transfer.
Did that work?
That didn't work.
You said it didn't work?
No, it did work. It did work.
Okay. I was about to say, damn, they was really on you like that, man. And it had nothing to do with you being out the country or nothing, right? I don't think that. Now I'm just asking, for clarity's sake, so people can understand the level of what you've been going through.
At that time, I was still in America, and she was in America.
Right. Oh, so y'all was in the same country. So this, because I know you're in Africa now. I just wasn't sure if you was in the States or not. So you was in the States and still couldn't get it within the States.
Right.
Even though technically it's all electronic when you think about it, so it shouldn't matter like where you are because you're wiring from one bank account to another bank account, but it's an American bank, so to speak. So it really shouldn't have mattered. I think that's extremely interesting. And that was one of the things that intrigued me to want to interview you, because there was almost like an update I wanted to ask, which we're getting into now. Like, what has it been like for you? Have you been able to either still produce the book, get any more sales, anything from the book? Has it stopped your progress? Because I do want to get into the debate part with the Jewish people. But before we do that, like, what has how has it stopped, continued to stop, and have you been able to fight back? Like, what have you been able to do to counter them shutting you down in these different platforms?
Well, well, not on Amazon. People know about that the most, so people go there for the books, the movies. But I had started H2N TV.com to have a backup in case YouTube shut me down or Amazon took my books off the market or the movie. So I always knew that at some point I had to have a backup plan, and that's when I created H2NTV.com. And so even though Kyrie apologized and the media got back to normal programming of the American people, and I knew that when that happened, the focus was not going to be on Hebrews to Negroes. It was going to be on whatever else. So I knew that the sales were gonna start to slow down, start to decline, and to whatever level it was before. And that's okay. I kept promoting. I kept doing my things on Clubhouse and Instagram and Twitter. But since Kyrie did apologize, and within a month, and the Jews were not talking about it anymore on TV, and then they banned me from YouTube. That, of course, marketing advertising is a big piece in selling anything. So you know, the things are not as high as they used to be like last year, but it's not at the rate of what the book sales were prior to Kyrie. So it's still buzzing, but
Mhm.
but
You're
not
saying it
like it
was
was.
more when before Kyrie did it, as opposed to after.
Right, right. And so now that I'm in Africa, I've been
Mhm.
showing a movie out. Well, I showed the movie out here in Africa, and I've been out here promoting Hebrews to Negroes out here to capture the African market. And the Jews have followed me here, and they've been doing a lot of things behind the scenes to stop me from showing a movie out here and spread the message. This is the
So
Jews.
explain. So explain that, because like, so you're in Africa, and as you're in Africa, and you say the Jews, or the Jewish people, or the so-called Jewish people, find you out there. Explain, like what do you mean, like, find you out there? So you're going through all this hell in America. Now you go out the country, you go to another country, um, and then you're experiencing the same backlash there that you was in the
Yeah,
States.
yeah.
Mhm.
So when I got here in May, no March, I had signed a contract with Stakina Corps
Mhm.
to show the movie Hebrews to Negroes on May the
Mhm.
20th. And Stakina Corps is like AMC theaters in America. So
Mhm.
I signed a contract with them at the largest theater they had, the IMAX theater, and everything was all set to go at the Monte Casino. And um, little did I know, after doing some research later, that Monte Casino is owned by Jewish people, and the Jews,
Mm. So it's
they
almost like a
changed.
trick bag.
Yeah, yeah, they have. Okay, Jews often sometimes sell their company, or they
Mhm.
somebody else buys it, becomes the CEO. So the CEO might not be Jewish, but the shareholders are Jewish, and the people that's running the show behind the scenes are still Jewish behind the scenes. So I guess they caught wind of the movie premiering at their casino slash theater, and
Mm.
they had the top level executive send an email to Stakina Corp, which is like AMC, to
Mhm.
cancel the event. And they canceled the event, even though I had a contract, with no reason. So in South Africa, the Jews are kind of above the law. They can do what they want to do, and if you get mad, you can try to sue them. But at the end of the day, if they own the establishment and they cancel a contract with you, and you're sitting there without a movie, without a venue to show the
Yeah, like you
movie,
sitting up there empty, right?
yeah, you
So
you
now,
have
is
to
this for
decide.
people buying tickets and everything? Do refunds get us? I mean, do you get any?
Yeah,
Do
so
you keep any monies? Is there any type of vibe?
I had I had to refund everybody, and all the marketing advertising costs that I spent. The only way I can get that back is if I sue them, and to sue a major theater, casino, hotel conglomerate, you're going to be looking at 2-3 years of lawyer fees and battling them in court. And am I willing to waste a lot of money fighting Jews that have endless money just
Mm-hmm.
so they could say, all right, well, this is the reason why we cancel your movie, and we'll give you back your measly whatever amount of money you spent on advertising and advertising and marketing, when we know, Mr. Dalton, you spent all this money fighting us for 2 years just so you can get your your advertising marketing damages money. And so yeah, so after they did that, I knew that they were following me, so we had to do another venue at Soweto Theater, and they had actually intercepted and contacted the general managers of Soweto Theater and told them that they were not happy with the movie being shown at Soweto Theater. So we had a meeting with the guys at the Soweto Theater, and
Mm-hmm.
I asked them in the meeting. I said, "Why are we in this meeting?" And they said, "Well, because uh, they said the masses are not happy." And I said, "Who are the masses?" I
Right.
said, "Black people," because masses means the majority. And
Right.
they
The
were like,
majority.
"No."
Right.
They were like, "No, not black people." And I said, "Who are the masses that complain?" And he said, and this lady jumped in and said, "The embassy of the Jewish people." And I said, "The embassy of Israel?" Because I know the embassy is, but she just said the embassy of Jewish people. And I said, you can't Google embassy of the Jewish people, and you're gonna see a website. You're gonna see the
Right.
embassy of Israel.
Right.
And I said, okay, well, I guess the embassy of Israel does not want this movie to show here in Soweto. And I said, well, who was the person that contacted you? Does he have a name? Does he have a title? Is he a president? Is he a account executive? Who is he? And
Right.
they couldn't say the name. And I said, was there anybody else that complained? Was there any other Jewish boards or organizations that complained? And, they didn't want to say it. I knew they were scared. It was it was tough for them, because the Jews had told them that they did not want this to go through. And I said, look, I have a contract signed with you guys. I said, I paid the money. I said, what are you going to do here? I said, because if you cancel the contract, those are grounds for legal action. And I said,
Right.
and I don't want to take it that way, but you can't just cancel contracts and payments and just because the Jews told you to. And I
Right.
said, this theater, is it owned by black people or the Jews? I said, is South Africa
Mm.
ran by the Jews or black people?
Right.
Who are the majority? So, that was tough for them. And at the end of the day, we did show the movie at Soweto Theater, but one of the stipulations in the contract, after the Jews
You
complained,
said at a
that we do
smaller
not.
theater.
No, at the Soweto Theater.
Okay,
We
so
did
you
show
were
it.
able to do it, but it sounded like you about to say it's a stipulation.
Yeah, there was a stipulation that we had to revise the contract where they could not market the movie. So
Mm.
usually any other paying customer that does business with them and host an event, they have a billboard outside. They have a billboard at the malls nearby. They have a
Mm-hmm.
website inside Photo Theater. They have like posters of what's coming next, what kind of events are coming next, and just like in a movie theater.
Right.
And they couldn't do any of that. Basically, if you went to Soweto Theater, you will not know any. You will not know that Hebrew Singles was playing on June the 11th. You would not even know that because they
Mm.
did not market anything. They said that you are in charge of marketing your own.
So you would have to do your own marketing, but at the same time, you can't create a Facebook, you can't create a YouTube, you can't go on
Yeah,
Clubhouse, you can't go on all
yeah.
these things. So so how were you, if at all, able to market and
Okay,
push it?
so usually on when you book an event with Sweater Theater, they have a list of events, and it says book now, and you click on the link and you buy the tickets on Sweater Theater. I couldn't do that because the Jews told them, they're upset. They said, no, you guys, okay, if Ron Dalton is going to show the movie here, you just cannot let him market anything on the website nowhere. So we had to have a different link that people had to go to buy the tickets, and we had to include that link on the flyer. So I had put the link on my website, the Negro Network.com, and we had a lot of people that we paid to hit the streets of Soweto with flyers, like every day, hand out flyers, like thousands of flyers, and that's how we got the word out. In addition to some local radio stations and some podcast shows, and so in South Africa that we used to promote the movie, and that's what we did. That's what we had to do.
Man, well, first I want to drop a bomb for you even being able to, like, the adversity that you have to deal with it, man. And it's spiritual how much we have to fight to deliver a truth when it's so easy for everybody to push a lie. If they wanted to push a propaganda for a movie, they can push it. A false narrative, they can push it. And all you doing is just pushing and trying to promote a book. And the book was in existence since 2015. That's the crazy part. Like, so somebody put in the chat, which I think was a good question. I don't know if anybody has ever asked you. It seems like the Flat Cane, once Kyrie shared it, it brought attention. It made millions of people, because he has millions of followers, pay attention to you. Has he ever reached out to you, or have your people or you ever reached out to him? Has there ever been any type of communication between the two sides?
No. You know, with Kyrie, no. I did text him on Instagram and Twitter, but you know, he didn't respond. And I did reach out to Kanye West, his old publicist, and during that time, and when I called her, she said, "Who is this?" And I said, "This is Ron Dalton, the creator of Hebrews to Negroes, that's got Kyrie Irving in trouble." And she said, "Oh, we know about you." And I said, "Oh, you do?" And she says, "Yes, Kanye." She said, "Kanye knows about you and your movie and your books." And I said, "Well." I said, I can send you all my movies and books to Kanye West for free, so he can, you know, look at it himself."
Right.
And she was like, "Well, he already has them. Like he already, you know." Like she was like, don't worry about that, because he's already got them, you know." And so she was like, "I got a meeting to go to. Is there anything else? Anything else that you would like to say or me relay to Kanye West?" And I said some things, and she was like, "Okay, I'm gonna let him know," and blah blah blah. I got the phone. But no, I never talked to Kyrie. The funny thing is that when the Washington Post, CNN, and Newsweek, when they called me, I'm trying to figure out how did they get my number. But anyway, they called me, and
same way they got your YouTube account. They was watching you. That's how they got it.
Yeah. So they asked, one of the first things they asked was, "Are you in communication with Kyrie and Kanye West?" And I said, "Man," these guys they're really trying to figure out.
Yeah.
You know, and I said no. I said no, I'm not. And they said they start asking questions about how much money have you made so far on Amazon. You know.
Oh, they getting all in your business.
And I said what? And they said, "Well, can't you just go? Don't you got analytics on Amazon? You can go in there and look and see for us." And I said, "Yeah, I do, but I'm not going to look for you." And I said, "It's none of your business."
Right? Why they want to know all your financial info, your economic, your business, your commerce, what you make? Like, that's crazy to ask you these questions.
Yeah, and then they said, "Well, well, why not?" I said, "Because you don't need to know that." And so they said, "Well, where are you at right now?" I said, "Does it matter?" I said, If I'm in Australia or Africa or America, why do you care? Why does it matter?" "Oh, well, we just want to know where you're at right now." I said, "Well, you don't need to know where I'm at." Then they said, "Well, where do you work at?" I said, "What does that matter?" I said, "What, you gonna call my job and tell them to fire me? Tell them, oh, this guy's over here. You need to fire him." They was asking a lot of questions, and then one of the things they asked was, "Who's funding you? How'd you make the movie? Did you have a production studio? How'd you do it? Did it really cost $10,000 to make?" because that's what we read. We read somewhere that it cost $10,000 to make. Was that really the amount that it cost? And I said, well, is that what you read? And he was like, yeah. I said, well, then that's your answer. He was like, was that really how much? He kept asking, is that really how much it
Right,
cost?
he really at right.
And I said, sir, what did you read? He said 10,000. I said, that's your answer. And then he said, nobody's funding you. I said, no. He was like, how did you make the movie? I said, a computer, editing program, and that's it, and the internet. And he was like,
Yeah.
really? Yeah. So
because I don't think they could believe that you could put together such a masterpiece of a documentary by yourself. It's almost like, how could this, like when I dialogue with those of the European persuasion, I'll just say it like that, no matter what they consider themselves. Every time I dialogue with them, I always get the same thing when I start speaking intelligently. They always say something to the effect, how could you know this? Almost like, how could you do this? Because we're just looked at as just the slaves or the poor black Negro. How could you ever achieve this type of information? So I can only imagine the power that you had to create this DVD, put it on Amazon, let it exist for all this time. And according to you, you were more successful before Kyrie than after Kyrie. So now they can't even say that Kyrie generated more revenue for you. It generated more attention, but not more revenue. And so it's like, how could this brother, and I'm gonna say it from their perspective, how could this black person be able to do something like this? So they pressing you. How much did it cost? How much did? And I believe that that's how or why they kept asking you those questions. What do you think about that?
Yeah, because they were like, well, are you making more movies? Have you made more movies? And I said, yeah. And I got more coming. And they said,
Right.
oh, really? What are they about? I said, kind of like the same thing, but more. And they was like, oh, what are they coming out? I said, next year. They said, oh, really? I said, yeah. So they were, they always call and they would want a statement. They said, well, listen, can we get a statement from you? And I said, no. I said, you gotta get it. You're gonna have to get an interview. They said, right. You can't give us a statement. I said, no. So I said, so you can twist it around. You can put out whatever you want to put out, and then I read it and say, I didn't say that. I said, interview only, sir. Take it or leave it. And then he said, okay, well, maybe we can do an interview, and we'll get back with you. And none of them got back with me. People were, even in 2023, people were emailing me saying that they wanted a statement so they can do an article or piece on Kyrie Irving in 2023. This is right. Like months after this happened. They're still trying to do a piece on Kyrie Irving, and they wanted me to give them a statement. And I said, no, interview. And when I say that, they usually just go away because they don't want to.
But what are they expecting to get from Kyrie? Because for all the hype behind it, all he did was just share a link. He didn't do anything else. He didn't even say anything else. And then he was kind of like in defense mode for sharing a link. But outside of that, that's all he really did was just share a link. So what was they expecting to get out of him?
Well, that's the thing. Like he kept telling them, he said some of the things in the documentary were unfortunate, but he said, I don't look at everything and believe everything is that I read and see. But, again, he said, you keep saying I hurt people, but where's you at when 300 million of my ancestors are buried in America?
That was heavy when he said that too.
Yeah. And then he kept saying, well, I didn't make the documentary. I'm not the one who made the documentary. And he, Kyrie Irving's right. He didn't make the direct documentary, but people are acting like he made the documentary.
Right.
And I'm sitting here like, well, why don't they come to me and ask me these questions? But they're surprised when they see that this type of movie exists.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you a true story. In November of 2019, I contacted iHeartRadio and the Breakfast Club, and I had talked to a man named Steve DeLucent and then Elizabeth Moreno, because these are managers and assistant managers of the sales department, the media department. And I told them do you have a department where I can advertise? And they said, yeah, what do you want to advertise? I said, a movie. And they said, what's the name of the movie? And I say, Hebrews to Negroes Wake Up Black America. And they said, oh, and they got quiet. And I said, hello, are you there? Are you still there? And they said, yeah, we're still here. What's the movie about? And I told them, and they was like, who's it targeting? I said, black people. And I said, she said, oh, I could see that. And then he said, interesting. He says, is it on Amazon or anywhere? I said, yes, on Amazon. He said, can I look it up right now? I said, yep. And he went and looked it up on the phone. And he says, oh, streaming on Amazon. You got 4.7 stars. He said, oh, you got books too, 4 books. And I said, yep. And he said, oh, you got DVDs, you got Blu-ray and regular DVD. He said, man, he said, and you're an independent filmmaker. I was like, yeah. And he said, oh, okay, well, he said, well, this is how much it's going to cost to do I think a 15-second and a 30-second voiceover, where either Charlemagne or DJ Envy or Angela Yee, they will read the voiceover. They will read it. They will read it on live air. If I if I tell them to say, check out the movie Hebrews to Negroes on Amazon. Black people, you owe to yourself to know the truth about your identity or whatever. If that's what I told them to say, and they say, okay, that's 30 seconds, that's cool. Like, they'll tell you what the price is. And I think the price was like $2,000, $3,000 for 30 seconds. And I think for 15 seconds, it was like $1,500. And the guy said, send us your website, send us your trailer, send us this. And I said, I'm gonna do it right now. And I did it. And I said, will you get back with me? And he said, yeah, we'll get back with you. So a week or two later, they didn't get back with me. So then I kept calling. I kept calling people, and they were answering the phone, saying, no, they're not in the office. I'll let them know that you called. And so I was like, something's not right here. And so I had a friend of mine. She called for me on my behalf, and she put on her white girl voice. And she called.
She took the bass. Oh, I'm about to say she took the bass out, but I get what you're saying. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she called, and I was on 3-way, and she says, "Hello, like I'm Ron Dalton's PR, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on with the status of his request for marketing with you guys. He's ready to make payment and proceed with what it is that you guys need from him to do the advertising with the Breakfast Club." And they said, "Oh yeah, we ran it by the producers, and they said no." And I said, and she was like, "No," but she's like, "For what reason?" And they said, "Well, they don't give us a reason." And then she asked, "Well, is there an email or a phone number we can call the producers and see if they can let us know why they're not wanting to take our money and engage in contract to market this movie?" And he says, "No, the producers don't give out their phone numbers. They don't want to talk. They don't talk to people, and they don't have to give you a reason why. If it's up to them at the end of the day." They said if Charlemagne and DJ Envy and Angela Yee, they're going to get the money, and most likely they're not going to have any problem with it. But at the end of the day, it's not up to them. It's up to the producers of the show. They're the ones that give the green light. So after that, we realized that it's not about the money. It's about the content and the narrative that they will be responsible for allowing to leak to millions of people listening to the Breakfast Club, and they didn't want that to happen.
Yeah, I could tell. Like, and it was interesting you asked that because somebody was in the chat said, "I remember we heard he was going to do a major interview on a major media platform. Whatever happened to that?" And it sounds like you just broke down what happened to that. What happened to that was they blocked it. So they wanted to do it in a crass way, and then they wouldn't let you do it at all. And so what I want to show real fast before I ask you questions, I want to share the screen because I want to present your website so people can actually see, the people that are watching live, they can see here. So what we're looking at, we got Hebrews and Negroes. So for all of y'all watching, I put the link in the chat. I'm going to put the link back in the chat. So you guys can click this link. And so, and just, we definitely want to support the brother. So I'm putting this link back in the chat. And if you click the link here, you want to click the subscribe now. This is for Hebrews and Negroes. And when you click this, there's 2 membership options. You have the annual $115.99 for the year, and you have the monthly. I'll be subscribing for the monthly. I don't want to put my card information on here because it saves automatically. As you can see, it all pops up. So I don't want to do that, but I'll be subscribing as well. Now, with the subscription, can you explain to the audience, like, what do they get when they subscribe to your channel? What does that give them access to?
Yes, I have you probably can't see, but I have different categories on there that they have. Some of them are movies, series. Some of them are vloggers, Israelites in America and Africa, and then some of the videos are teachings, and then some of the videos are highlights of basically the things I've been doing in South Africa. So if you just go scroll down all the way to the bottom, you'll see different categories, and usually
do I have to log in? You talk about after I subscribe, or is this something?
Go to browse.
Okay, so we're gonna go to browse.
Oh,
Here we go. Man, look at this here. So this is what you're talking about, what you get access to.
Yeah.
So that, as y'all can see, you got Hebrews and Negroes Revelations, the curses of Israel. If I scroll down, Hebrews and Negroes Media, City of Zion and Hebrews, and he has the coming soon. And then he also had.
You click on show more. See what's the show more?
Yeah, I see. Oh, can you say that Congo D? You got to pronounce that word.
I have trouble pronouncing those words too. Yeah, that's in Kikongo. That's a Kikongo dialect.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you say that word? Congo Dia Natola?
Congo Dia. The N is sometimes silent, so it will be like tortilla.
Tortilla, like saying tortilla shell, like tortilla.
Yeah, it could sound like that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I got you, man. This is like some good stuff here. You got Ditching Babylon. You got Freedom Chasers. You got Hebrew History. And this is interesting, man. And then you got Show More. You got more. You got music. You got Coming of the Diaspora, the Second Exodus. You got online. So this is a plethora. So, and I'm glad I did this, because for you guys that are listening that want to go to his Hebrews the TV network, which is H2NTV.com, you can see there's a lot of information on here that you get access to. There's a whole lot of information. Once you get on the page, you just hit browse, and it gives you access to all of this here. You got the media and stuff like that. So make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure you go out. Now, if you can afford the monthly, you save more with the monthly, but you save more with the yearly. But if you want to do the monthly, you could do the monthly as well. But I think we definitely should support the brother with the endeavors that he's doing, because he's fighting against, like in Ephesians, the 6th chapter, when it says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. That's literally what this brother is fighting against. So I definitely wanted to show that before we ask any more questions.
I got another thing I'm working on. So I'm working on a platform like Netflix, and it's going to be raw and uncut. So on this platform, we can say whatever we want to say. We don't have to worry about nothing. It's a completely censorless. The Jews, nobody can. They can't. The only way they can take it down is if they start doing brute force attacks, like basically website hacks. But in terms of see, when you deal with apps like Apple and Google, Android and Samsung, Tizen, and Roku, Amazon, they all have content guideline rules. And if the Jews are crafty enough, they could say, "Oh, this guy has apps on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Samsung Tizen, and Apple Play, and iOS, and Android TV, and Android." and they can say, you know what, you guys something's gotta happen with this guy. We're not happy with what he's doing here, and they can easily try to delete videos, shut down channels or subscriptions or contracts. So what I decided to do, because a lot of times we don't build these things ourselves, we just use
Right.
other people's platforms like YouTube and Rumble and BitChute. So I'm working on a site, a platform where all the Israelite filmmakers, they're worried about talking about COVID or talking about the LGBTQ community or the Jewish community or saying anything that they might think is anti-Semitic or conspiracy or misinformation, then they don't have to worry about these things on my coming platform. And so yeah, so that's going to be coming out soon. It's going to
I
be
look forward to it. We should do, like, when you get it ready, we should do like maybe a short, quick interview, doing like how we just did just now, where I was able to showcase the site so people could see the progress, they could see the completion, they can see everything, so that brothers and sisters, because I think a way, like, I'll help you. Like, the minute that when you text me, the first thing I thought was, let me see if I could do something for them, even if it's small gesture of just coming and doing an interview together, so people could hear your fight, hear your struggle. When you get it ready, we can come back and we can say, okay, Cap, remember I was talking about doing this, where I got it done. Let's showcase it, and then we can showcase it just like we did your website. So I look forward to when you have that complete.
All right, okay, that's cool.
Definitely. Couple of questions in the chat, right? Some, for those, again, for some may not know you and want to see, just scrolling up a little bit. One person said, can you ask, and this is from Lion of Judah, I'm just going to show it on the screen. Can you ask him what made him begin this journey and how long has he been into spreading this truth? That's a question from Lion of Judah.
I mean, before this happened, I was a physician assistant in Detroit for like many years, and make us a story. Long story short, my dad's a pastor, and working in the inner city Detroit, the ERs and the trauma room, and then you leave the hospital and you drive through the city of Detroit, and you see the destruction in the community, and you see all the curses of Israel before your eyes. But we don't know that these curses are upon us until we actually read Deuteronomy 28, like I did one day at a second service. And I said to myself, I said, this is exactly what's going on right now in Detroit, in the history of Black people in America. And I said, this can't be the white people, the Jews. This has to be us. And that's when I, went home that day and asked God in the shower. I said, I'm feeling conflicted because the scripture I'm reading, it points to us being the real Jews and the children of Israel, the real Israel. And so once I, asked God to show me the truth, then it's just like like I just got an inner drive to search for the truth. And so the Most High was showing me all these things, and I was stumbling upon this, stumbling upon that. I had read The Synagogue of Satan by Andrew Carrington Hitchcock, and that blew my head off. And then and then I started, this went on like a 2-3 year journey of research. And then after that, I just said, I'm going to put this all in a book, because this is something that Black people need to know in the Christian church, and now those that are not in the Christian church. And that's how Hebrews to Negroes was born, through the book.
Oh, that's a good one. And I knew that story, but like I said, a lot of people don't know the story. So another question, because I have questions too, but the audience does have questions. So I want to see, I think you answered this, but Halima asks, does he have any future projects coming that we should look out for?
Yeah, I had the Hebrews to Negroes 3, Sound the Alarm. It's coming out this year in Tampa, Florida. I'm doing a conference down there, and then I'm going to show the movie November the 18th. It's a 2-day conference. And so those that want to see the movie this year, they're going to have to come down to Tampa, Florida. It's not going to stream in 2023. And then I got the Gentile Agenda I'm working on. And then I have the Curses of Israel Part 3. Then I have the Message Part 4. And I have 400 years served, the return of the Israelites. That's a documentary based out of Africa, and I think that's all I can think of right now.
You said I think that's as if you ain't just say a lot. Like as if you ain't say a lot. This brother's working, man. Get his brother another bomb drop. And I love to hear that, because you could have easily if everybody listening to what Ron is saying, he has had to fight against being kicked off of every social media platform. He goes to another country in South Africa, which is predominantly African, and the so-called Jews stop him from doing that. Every avenue that he's been stopped at the door. But like he said, when he had that vision, when the Lord gave him the vision, it made him never want to stop doing what he felt his mission was. And I think you definitely should be applauded for what you're doing. Another question in the chat from Rhoda says, how was your transition moving to Africa?
I mean, it was easier for me than my wife, but she's adapted well. South Africa is kind of an easy transition if you're going to move to Africa. Just like Ghana is kind of an easy transition. You know, if you decide to go somewhere else, you know, you may find out, you know, you're going to be without certain things that you're going to have to get used to. But, you know, all in all, one thing that I love here is that, you know, the racism, discrimination, you're not going to get that here because the majority of people here are black. And, you know, so when you're in the car riding around, the police ain't looking for you. The police is not worried about, you know, you. And if, you know, racial profiling doesn't exist in Africa because everybody's black driving these vehicles.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, of course, the air is cleaner than New York. And you got, you know, the food is cheaper, food is fresher. I mean, it's just different. It's a night and day. And for those that haven't been, you know, they can visit many different countries and see what they like. But you know, I'm enjoying it. My kids are enjoying it. You know, they have all black teachers. Before in America, you know, you could get white teachers and Arab teachers and East Indian teachers and Jewish teachers and
Mm-hmm.
all types of it. Even the schools in America, they were teaching back before I left. You know that binary. You know, you can't say he or she.
Yeah. You gotta say
Friends.
cisgender. You gotta say
Yeah,
cisgender. You gotta say cisgender. You gotta say birthing person.
yeah,
Chest feeding. You gotta say chest
yeah,
feeding. Like it's ridiculous. Like you can't call your wife a woman. You can't call your husband a man. You
yeah,
got to say something else. Like it's
yeah.
ridiculous over here. It's absolutely ridiculous over here. One more question I'm gonna take. It says this is from Kaya. Says, I have a question. What is his overall plan to navigate these challenges and promote the information?
Well, you know, aside from starting these platforms that are not controlled by the Jews, there's really nothing I could do about YouTube and Instagram or Facebook and the shadow banning on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. There's nothing I could do about Clubhouse. Um, you know, so what I found to be always useful is hitting the streets and guerrilla marketing. So getting people to help you pass out a massive amount of flyers in the streets. You know, just like, you know, handing out cassette tapes out of your trunk. You know,
Right,
and
like
going door
old
to door.
school back in the day.
Yeah, door to
Mhm.
door. You know, if you're a black doctor back in the day, you would actually physically have to go door to door in Detroit and leave your flyer saying, "I'm the new doctor down the street. Come check us out." And that's how you gain your clientele. So
Right.
I've been doing that in America. I'm doing that in Africa now. And every opportunity I get, I try to hit the podcast, the radio. I'm always out in the streets, and when I'm out in the streets, I'm always passing out flyers. I'm always talking to people in the Uber car or wherever, and so I'm spreading the message every day. So one person hears about it, they got the flyer, and then they take it home, and then now their wife looks at it, their cousin looks at it, their daddy looks at it, their friend looks at it, and now they tell somebody else, and so you'd be surprised on how word of mouth gets around when people start looking at things and they start to get interested and they start to tell others like, hey, you need to check this out. So that
Right.
still works. That still works, even though they do a lot of these shady things on social media because they own it.
So now, in when you text me and you was like, you said like they wanted to like debates or something like that. What is it that they're actually trying to do? So like when you text me, if you don't mind me sharing, they want. It looked like you're saying that they want to do like some type of debate. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Yeah. So I was I had woke up and I saw somebody tag me and they said Ron, they're calling you out, and I clicked on the link and it was the Jerusalem Post magazine.
Mhm.
So
Right.
what is the Jerusalem Post doing, posting about Hebrews to Negroes shouldn't be banned and censored? He needs to be debated. And so I looked at that and said, so they
Maybe they
now these
coming
guys,
outside. Maybe they coming outside or so, right?
yeah. So basically, they're saying that with all the light in the news with Kanye and Kyrie and everybody saying that the Jews control the media, they censor you, they shut you down, they take away your accounts, and they freeze your bank accounts, they take away your deals, they take away your money, they have you apologizing and all this stuff. The Jewish guy was basically saying like we're actually proving to the people that what Kyrie and Kanye is saying is true. That we do have the power to censor and shut down anybody that goes against our narrative and our agenda. And they said instead of trying to ban Ron Dalton from everywhere, which they've been doing, it shows to them that they really do fear Hebrews to Negroes. If they didn't fear it, why would they try to
Right.
ban it everywhere? So
And
they
you
said
know
instead
what?
of banning
And
him
that
from
could be the Lord. Good. I'm sorry.
so the last straw for them banning Hebrews for Negroes in America is to take down the Amazon stuff that I have on there. So if they were to do that, they would literally have banned Hebrews to Negroes on all physical and digital mainstream platforms in America. And that just only shows that there is something about this book and movie that they are so scared about and threatened about that they would be willing to go through extensive lengths to get activists, celebrities, the different Jewish organizations, the ADL and different ones, to actually go after Amazon, go after Barnes and Noble, go after Target, go after Walmart, go after anybody that's trying to sell Vimeo on demand,
Right.
YouTube. That shows that they're scared of something. Why are you going through that much trouble to not let people get a hold of this book and these movies? So the guy is basically saying, look, Ron has these things that he believes in, he teaches, and instead of banning this guy, just debate him. We need to debate him and see if he's gonna accept the challenge. And if he is, he's a coward. But if he accepts the challenge and we beat him, then he'll lose all his
Oh,
followers.
this.
We've eliminated the problem.
I'm going to read some of the article. I have the article here on the screen where it says anti-Semitic books shouldn't be banned but debated. It says many Jewish organizations call for certain anti-Semitic books to be banned. However, there are reasons to oppose this. Instead, its authors should be debated. And this, now, if this comes through, this could be a great opportunity, Ron, because now you after going through the trial by fire for the past 8-9 months, if this comes to fruition, because they lay out points. What is the book all about? Here are some of the claims. They lay out the claims that you make. And then he says, I am not now going to defend this book, of course, but I am going to oppose its banning. There's been far too much cancellation of ideas of late. It's past time to oppose such anti-intellectualism. Judge Louis Brandeis said that sunlight is best disinfectant, and no words were truer or more apt to the present situation. So I'm looking forward to see what they're going to do, because this is in the Jerusalem Post. So it's the report. It says, trying to see if it gives the author on here. Does it give the author at the bottom?
Yes.
Or Walter Block? Or at the top, I'm sorry.
And the bottom, and the bottom.
So is that book illustrated photo credit Abby Sharma? I don't think that's the person. Walter Block. Here we go. So this is written by Walter Block. This is published June 17th of 2023. So this is pretty recent. It's less than a month old. So let's see if they're willing to really stand up and show, okay, it's a bully tactic because they're the ones in position of power. So that's why it's so easy for them to ban it. But now if they step into the ring, so now it's just knowledge versus knowledge. My God against your God. And let's see, almost like when Elijah battled them 450 prophets of Baal. That's like my favorite prophet. When it comes to battling, that's like my favorite prophet because it's you as a singular against this big, gigantic entity. The only difference is you have the Most High on your side. They do not have the Most High on their side. So has anybody contacted you on this, or has it just been just a article posted, so to speak?
No, I emailed them and said I'm responding to Walter Block, his post. I mean his article, and I said, get your most top well-known rabbi or scholar in the world, and bring him to me so I can debate him. And I said, if you need help, I said I'll debate a team of rabbis. If you need help, I can take all of you guys on. And
yeah, you definitely a Judite. You're typical Judite. If you need help, just get whoever you need. I'll be here ready to debate. Okay, yeah. I see you.
You see what the Jews do, like in the clubhouse, they'll say, are you an Israelite? And I'll say yes. They'll say, well, and I told this one guy, I said, I'll challenge you to a academic debate. And he said, well, he said you can't use the New Testament. And I said, okay, I'm not using the New Testament. Yeah. They
put stipulations to so-called handicap you.
Yeah, and then he said, you can't use what do you say? I can't use Josephus Flavius. I said, okay, I ain't got to use him.
Yeah.
And then he said, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I said, you know what? I said, I didn't tell you what you can and cannot do. I said, I don't care what you bring to the table. I said, you can bring everything under the sun.
Everything.
To the debate. Yeah, I said, I don't care. So why are you trying to tell me? And then I think he said you can't use your book. You can't use stuff from your book. And I said,
wait, it's about your book though.
Yeah, I said the book is in my head. I said the book was in my head before I wrote it down. So I don't need to use the book. It's in my head.
Right.
These guys are crazy, and so
definitely.
But the thing is, these guys, whenever I try to challenge the Jews to an academic debate, like they do in the colleges, they always give an excuse why they can't. I'm in an airplane all the time. I'm traveling to Israel and back. I really don't have the time to come to a debate in a physical location. And they'll say, "Oh, COVID-19 is not done, and it's not safe, and you guys have a history of violence, and I don't want to be attacked by the Hebrew Israelites." And I said, "Well, okay, well, I'll come to you. I'll come to your state, your city, your synagogue. I come to you," and they'll still say, no, that's not necessary. So they always have some excuse of why you can't debate them. Even if you tell them, I'll fly you to my city, I'll put you in a hotel, I'll pay for your transportation, I'll pay for your meals, all the stuff. They still have an excuse. Why? And that's I did this to Vocab Malone. I said, look, I'll come to Arizona.
Vocab contacted you too? Vocab love.
He was talking stuff. I said, I'll come to Arizona where you're at. I'll pay for my own flight, hotel, transportation. You ain't got to pay for nothing. I'll debate you in your home, anywhere you want. I said, I know you don't have the knowledge to do so. And he didn't say nothing, and I said, "Oh, you can come to Detroit. I'll pay for your whole trip." And he, of course, he didn't say anything. I said, Eric Mason, all you guys that talk a lot of smack, engaging the Israelites. I said, you guys talk this stuff, but y'all don't talk as cheap. I said, where are you guys at? You just run all the time. You got track shoes. You're running. So, I don't think that Walter Block or the Jews are going to email me and say we're ready to debate you. I really don't. I think that at the end of the day, suffering a massive loss publicly, because he in the
Mm-hmm.
article he wants a public debate. He said we should have a public debate, and he doesn't want that public debate to happen because that would be a huge blow to the Jewish community, and that would make them look really bad. And in order to continue their lie, they have to continue to not confront the truth by engaging in debating people that can beat them, that can defeat them.
Right. I think that's that, and that's I think is the most important thing. And what I wanted to get out of this interview, and I promise to only keep you an hour because I know it's 1 a.m. Your time is getting close to 2 a.m. So I won't keep you long. I wanted to end with that because what this speaks to, and I really want everybody to understand this, when you stand for the truth, especially the word of the Most High, there's really nothing that can hold you down. In this interview, Brother Ron has showed his tenacity dealing with adversity, his push, his fight. He's been blocked on every social media that you could think of. I think he said except Instagram. Still didn't stop him. He moved into Africa. They told him he couldn't do it in the movie theaters. And then when they finally say he could do it in movie theaters, they take away promoting him. So now he got to promote it himself. He promotes it himself. He then creates the website, Hebrews the Negroes, H2N Network, which we saw when, if you subscribe to it, we was able to display all of the information, all of the video content, the music content, the history content that you can access for just $10.99 a month. This brother should be supported. He should be applauded for the work that he's doing. If any support that I can give, I will always gladly give it. So I definitely appreciate you coming, Ron. I'll let you close out and have the final word before we end this podcast. Again, we're on Captain Tazaryach podcast episode. What is this episode? Episode 10, I believe. I appreciate you coming on. So, Ron, is there anything you wanted to say in closing?
Yeah, and this is just me. This is my viewpoint. When you we have to understand who the adversary is and what the agenda. The number one agenda is to keep Black people asleep in America and the world to who are the real Israelites. That's the most important thing that matters to them. It's not about Russia and Ukraine and China and Russia and the BRICS alliance. It's not about Donald Trump and all these things. It's about who are the real Israelites and who are the people that say they are the Israelites. Aside from that, you have to understand that if people are getting a platform on the Breakfast Club, and they're speaking on Vlad TV, Drink Champs, the Alex Jones show, and all over the world, they have a lot of people just sitting in the audience listening. A lot of people tuning in. 60 Minutes. We have to understand that they are not a threat to the agenda or to the elite or the masters or the cabal. They're not a threat because if they're a threat, they would not be able to continue to talk this talk on the platforms that have millions of listeners.
Right.
Breakfast Club has millions of listeners. So you can have Brother Polite and Brother Ben X and Rizza Islam and Dr. Boyce Watkins and Dr. Umar Johnson, your Tariq Nasheeds. You have all these people on there, Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish and whoever. But at the end of the day, we have to understand who runs iHeartMedia, who runs the Breakfast Club. Charlamagne knows who runs Hollywood and the music industry and the media industry. He knows these things. That's why he's not willing to say too much. If it starts to sound anti-Semitic, he don't want to lose his job. So we have to understand these things very clearly. They people that are talking a good game, a good talk, and it's on these platforms, it's just for our excitement, our entertainment, our feel good. We feel good inside. But at the end of the day, when you look at who they are, who and what they're trying to ban and censor and shut down, that's the real threat to the people that are the masters of this world that are running the show. And we are the children of the light, not the children of darkness, and we're supposed to come forth with truth and not deceptions and lies. So any pastor, any Muslim imam, anybody, if you ask them, they get mad at you, you say, hey, I said, does God want us to know the truth or he wants us to know lies? And
you got to pick one. Right.
Yeah. Most cases they're not gonna say No, God does not want us to know the truth. They're going to say, yes, God wants to know the truth. So then we say, all I'm doing is giving you the truth. That's it. At the end of the day, I'm giving you the truth. So don't get mad at me. Get mad at God and what he wants his people to have, which is true. So that's how I usually approach it. And people can get mad if they like it. It's just truth. And those that are opposed to the truth and God's work and his prophecy, they are the adversary. And the adversary in the Hebrew Strongs is Satan. The word for Satan means adversary or opponent or opposition. And right now we see who is the opponent, the adversary, and the opposition of this Israelite awakening. And I ain't gotta say who they are. I mean, I've already said it multiple times. We can call them the gatekeepers. I know Ice Cube said the gatekeepers, but they are the Jews. The Jews are the gatekeepers.
Correct.
That's it. At the end of the day, point blank.
No sweat. Well, again, I appreciate you coming on my podcast. I'm glad we was able to showcase your website, your Amazon site. I look forward to the great works that you're going to continue to do. You have my number. We can always communicate anytime you want to. We can talk offline, online, however. Again, make sure y'all support, make sure y'all subscribe to his site. Like I said, I'll be subscribing myself once this podcast ends. And make sure y'all subscribe and support the brother. And until next time, I say Shalom, Israel. I appreciate you coming in, Ron Dalton. All right. Sure. All right. I'm going to remove you from the stream. There we go. Well, as y'all can see, man, Ron Dalton brought some good information. He had an excellent website that he had. Even I was surprised. Like, I had never seen his site. So today was the first time I seen it. But as y'all saw, he had a lot of information on that site. So make sure you support him. Make sure you support Brother Ron. I think he's doing excellent work. And I think it's a horrible thing what's happening to him. But oppression comes with, the fight comes with the truth. It's not something that's easily spread, but you got to be willing to fight for it. I appreciate y'all joining me for this podcast. It was streamed also on YouTube. Big up to my man, Dawada. He always streams it with me. So it won't stay up on Clubhouse, but it will definitely stay up on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to Captain Tazaryach in the live podcast. I try to bring good content, good interviews. It's different from just debates. So I try to do more than just that. So I'm looking for having, more guests and bringing more people to y'all. So until next time, I say shalom. I'm going to end with my outro, and I'll see y'all next time.
All Hebrew Israelites, Africans.
All black people today, white people. I just cut it right there. That's really all you need to know. Are black people today white people? So that's the same answer with the African.
Let me help y'all out with the Bible never changes. That's the best solution for black people. The Bible never changes. Because the problem that we have in every ghetto USA, the problem that we have with each other is not science. Science ain't the problem. Them drug dealers on the corner need to die. That's the problem. Them brothers that's raping little girls. Them brothers that's turning our men homosexual. That's the problem. And the Bible said don't be a homosexual. The Bible said thou shalt not murder. The Bible said thou shalt not steal. The Bible said thou shalt not murder. The Bible said thou shalt not have no other God. And you see how they want to turn the mic on when I start talking about laws.
African, but then forget that the Africans, the Arabs, and the white man are all a part of the transatlantic slave trade. So when you call yourself African, when you wear that when you want to be Amin Ra and all of that, you're just joining another enemy to you.
Y'all don't listen to ISUBK, but we got the room on y'all floor. That shit don't even make no sense what you're saying.
Because of the honeys.
No, we not.
Yes, you are.
I tell you what, take us off the hundreds. Take us off.
Y'all have
We don't got to do another motherfucking room on the 100 side ever.
City. You got the city in Detroit. You got the city Seneca Village where Central Park is at in New York.
So that's not why the Wall Street thing happened. The reason that happened was there were a couple black businessmen and white businessmen who disagreed on some type of a deal. And then they start arguing and fighting with one another. And just like any terrorist attack about America, it went into a riot. They didn't do it just because the black were black or that they had businesses.
So you're calling a black man a terrorist because he wants to keep his business?
I'm just saying the warfare between the white and the black broke out because they had disagreements.
But if you say America is so great and the white man is so great, why would we be labeled as terrorists?
With that individual, I imagine Shabbat, I imagine Barack.
Dude.
Whoa, I still haven't hit him up. I gotta hit up Richard Spencer.
Y'all really scared of us, huh? Captain Tazaryach waiting to go, bro.
The wave of criticism that I got for having Richard Spencer on here was pretty intense. Now, I don't feel like I did anything wrong besides maybe not going hard enough.
You didn't have a voice for us here to question the gentleman. And we got a voice, Captain Tazaryach, Hebrew Israelite, One West.
Okay, we're gonna do
waiting.
Let me ask you this.
What up?